Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we are bypassing the dinosaurs and skipping over the recent ice age to land squarely in the middle of a forgotten epoch, a time spanning from 23 to 5.3 million years ago. This is the Miocene. While often called the Golden Age of mammals, those who study the fossil record know it by a more fitting name, the Era of Giants. It was a time when the Earth was warmer, greener, and significantly wilder than it is today. Picture a planet where titanic beasts roamed vast savannas that stretched all the way from Nebraska to northern China, and where the oceans teemed with predators large enough to swallow a great white shark whole. This was not an alien world. It was tantalizingly similar to our own, yet populated by a cast of characters that seem like fantasy monsters. We are talking about knuckle-walking horses, carnivorous sperm whales, crocodiles the size of buses, and birds with wingspans rivaling light aircraft. To understand these giants, we must first understand the stage they walked upon. The Miocene was a pivotal chapter in Earth's history. The continents were drifting close to their modern positions, but there were key differences. North and South America were separated by a seaway, leaving the southern continent in splendid isolation for millions of years. India had just collided with Asia, thrusting the Himalayas into the sky and altering global weather patterns. The Mediterranean Sea was unstable, periodically drying up in salt-encrusted catastrophes, only to refill in spectacular floods. But the true engine of the Miocene's megafauna was a plant we take for granted today: grass. During this epoch, distinct changes in atmospheric carbon dioxide and drying climates caused forests to recede and grasslands to explode across the globe. This was the Green Revolution, creating vast seas of grass that offered an endless buffet for herbivores. But this new food source came with a price. Grass is rich in silica, a microscopic abrasive that wears down teeth. In response, herbivores evolved hypsodonty, or high-crowned teeth that could withstand the grinding. As the grazers grew larger to process massive amounts of low-nutrient grass, the predators that hunted them had to scale up in an evolutionary arms race. The result was a global explosion of gigantism. Let us look first at the lords of the northern continents, in Eurasia and North America. In the Miocene, a land bridge connected Siberia and Alaska, turning the northern hemisphere into a superhighway for animals. The fauna here was a mix of the familiar and the bizarre. If you were to design the ultimate predator, you might combine the bone-crushing power of a bear with the speed and stamina of a wolf. Evolution did exactly this with the amphicyonids, commonly known as bear dogs. The alpha of this group was Amphicyone ingens, weighing up to 600 kilograms, or 1,300 pounds. It was heavier than a polar bear. It possessed a massive skull with teeth capable of shearing flesh and crushing bone. Its legs were robust but long, suggesting it could sprint in bursts to ambush prey. For millions of years, they were the apex predators of North America and Europe. However, as the Miocene ended and prey became faster, like the early horses, the bear dogs could not keep up. They were slowly replaced by true bears and true canids. While the bear dogs ruled the open plains, another terrifying creature made its final stand in the early Miocene. These were the entelodonts, or hell pigs. The genus Diodon, whose name literally means terrible pig, stood nearly 2 meters at the shoulder. It looked like a warthog injected with a super soldier's serum. Its skull was 3 feet long, studded with bony flanges or bosses, likely used for display or absorbing blows during combat with rivals. They were the ultimate opportunists. Their teeth show wear patterns indicating they crunched bones, roots, and likely scavenged or bullied other predators off kills. They were the hyenas of their day, but the size of a bison. Perhaps the strangest of all Miocene mammals were the Chalicotheres. Related to horses and rhinos, they looked like a genetic mishap, featuring a horse's head on a gorilla's body. The giant Meropus in North America and Chalicotherium in Eurasia, represent this group. Unlike their horse cousins who developed hooves for running, Chalicotheres developed massive claws. They were browsers who sat on their haunches, using their long forelimbs and claws to hook tree branches and pull them down to their mouths, filling the niche that ground sloths would later occupy. Because their claws were so long, they walked on their knuckles to protect them, giving them a shambling, ape-like gait. The Miocene was also the heyday of proboscideans, the elephant family. But these were not your standard elephants. Platybelodon, known as the shovel-tusker, had a lower jaw that was elongated and flattened, terminating in two broad, flat tusks. Modern microwear analysis suggests they used these jaws like a scythe to saw through tough vegetation and strip bark from trees. They were the landscapers of the Miocene. Then there was Dinotherium, the terrible beast, one of the largest land mammals ever, standing 4 meters tall. Unlike all other elephants, its tusks grew from its lower jaw and curved downward. They likely used these hooks to strip bark or anchor themselves against trees while sleeping. Now, let us cross the ocean to the island of giants, South America. Isolated from the rest of the world, South America became an evolutionary laboratory where splendid isolation produced animals found nowhere else. Without placental carnivores like cats or bears, other groups rose to take the throne. In the absence of mammalian predators, dinosaurs reclaimed the top spot in the form of phorusrhacids, the terror birds. These were flightless, carnivorous birds that terrified the continent. The largest of them all was Kilinkin guillermoi, possessing a skull 28 inches long, the largest bird skull ever found. Standing over 3 meters tall, it could likely run as fast as a racehorse. Unlike big cats that suffocate prey, terror birds used a hit-and-run tactic. Their beaks were shaped like pickaxes. They would sprint at prey, deliver a vertical skull-crushing strike with the beak tip, and retreat before the prey could retaliate. While terror birds ruled the ground, the skies belonged to Argentavis magnificens, with a wingspan estimated between 6 and 7 meters, roughly 20 to 23 feet. It was the size of a Cessna airplane. Argentavis was too heavy to take off by flapping alone. It relied on the strong thermal currents coming off the rising Andes Mountains and the grassy pampas. It was a master glider, soaring for miles without a single wing beat. It was likely a scavenger, using its sheer size to intimidate terror birds and mammalian predators away from their kills. In the wetlands of the Proto-Amazon, known as the Pibas system, lived the king of the swamp, Purosaurus brasiliensis. This was a caiman of mythical proportions. Estimates put it at 10 to 12 meters long and weighing over 8 tons. Studies suggest a bite force of 69,000 newtons, or 7 tons of pressure, which is more than twice that of Tyrannosaurus rex. It hunted anything it wanted, including 3-meter turtles and 700-kilogram rodents. The bite marks on fossilized turtle shells match Purosaurus teeth perfectly, showing it could crush a car-sized shell like a walnut. Traveling further across the globe, we reached the Dreamtime giants of Australia. The Miocene forests here were home to the ancestors of the megafauna that early humans would later encounter. There was Dromornis sturtoni, known as Sturton's thunderbird, which stood 3 meters tall and weighed 500 kilograms. Though related to ducks and geese, it had a beak powerful enough to shear tough stems. Then there was the marsupial lion, Wakaleo, a precursor to the famous Pleistocene Thylacoleo. About the size of a leopard, it had bolt-cutter teeth and a thumb claw that acted like a switchblade used to disembowel prey. Even the platypus was monstrous. Obdurodon thoralcuschilde was a carnivorous platypus nearly a meter long. Unlike the modern toothless version, Obdurodon retained functional teeth to crunch through turtles and crustaceans. While the land was dominated by giants, the Miocene oceans were equally terrifying. The waters were warmer and supported vast forests of kelp, creating a nursery for marine mammals. This abundance of food allowed for the evolution of the most terrifying marine predators in history. No discussion of the Miocene is complete without the Megalodon. Reaching lengths of 15 to 18 meters, it was 3 times the size of a great white. Its teeth were the size of a human hand. Fossil evidence shows they targeted small to medium-sized baleen whales. They attacked the chest cavity to crush the heart and lungs, a brute force strategy distinct from modern great whites. For a long time, we thought Megalodon had no peers. Then, in 2008, paleontologists in Peru found a rival, Livyatan melvillei. Unlike modern sperm whales that suck up squid, Livyatan was an anti-sperm whale, with functional teeth in both jaws. These teeth were 36 centimeters long, the largest biting teeth of any animal, ever. Livyatan occupied the same waters as Megalodon and hunted the same prey. It represents one of the few times in Earth's history where a massive apex reptile and a massive apex mammal competed directly for dominance. While the giants stomped and swam, a quieter revolution was happening in the trees. The Miocene was the epoch of the apes. In Spain, we find Piraeolopithecus, a 13-million-year-old ape with a flat rib cage and stiff lower spine, key adaptations for upright climbing that we humans eventually inherited. In the Siwalik Hills of Pakistan, we find Sivapithecus, an ape practically indistinguishable from the modern orangutan in facial structure, proving that the lineage of the red ape stretches back deep into the Miocene. And of course, there is the beginning of the Gigantopithecus lineage, starting with Indopithecus. These massive apes eventually grew to 3 meters tall, living on a diet of bamboo in the shrinking forests. But all empires fall. Around 14 million years ago, the Middle Miocene disruption occurred. A sharp drop in atmospheric carbon dioxide, likely sequestered by the weathering of the rising Himalayas, caused global temperatures to plummet. The Antarctic ice sheet expanded, locking up water and lowering sea levels. The lush subtropical forests that covered much of Eurasia and North America withered, replaced by arid steppes and deserts. The browsers, like the Chalicotheres and many Gomphotheres, starved as their leafy food vanished. The crocodile empire of South America collapsed as the massive wetlands of the Pebas system dried up. The oceans cooled, killing off the tropical whales that Megalodon fed upon, setting the stage for the giant shark's eventual demise in the Pliocene. The Miocene was a time of experimentation, a biological sandbox mode where evolution tested the limits of size and form. It shows us that the Earth is capable of supporting ecosystems far more grandiose than what we see today. The bones of Argentavis, Megalodon, and Dinotherium stand as silent monuments to an era when the Earth truly belonged to the giants. Thank you for listening to G Fun Facts Online.